This is episode 2 of the Unwanted Epilogue. I'm Jill.
I'm Ford.
And I'm... God damn it!
Sorry!
And we're taking it again.
Silence!
So I'll check that shit.
This is the Unwanted Epilogue.
A podcast nobody asked for about movies nobody likes.
This is episode 2 of the Unwanted Epilogue. I'm Jill.
I'm Ford.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're talking about Osmosis Jones. This is a Warner Brother Pictures movie film. It came out in August of 2001, and it's awful.
It's really bad.
It's very upsetting to watch. It's written by Mark Hyman, who also wrote The Perfect Score. So this movie, The Perfect Score, is about kids trying to cheat on the SAT. And Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans are in it. He has, this dude fucking orbits awesomeness, and it does not happen for him.
I feel like I've seen that, but I can't remember anything.
It was an MTV movie.
Okay, yeah.
It's terrible. Also, maybe we should keep that in mind
for next
later.
time.
Yep. So this thing is a live action and animation monstrosity like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, but terrible. It is so awful. The live action portion of this is directed by the Farrelly brothers, who are totally known for just class and subtle humor. And
this was shocking when I found this out that they directed
that
this movie.
actually makes sense to me because they had the dude from There's Something About Mary in there that was later on. So that guy works with the Farrelly brothers all the time, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Farrelly brothers.
Whatever.
Whatever.
It's good to know that, though. Now
It
I get
is
it.
good to
now
know.
I get it. Also, the gross shit. They have, the same jokes.
Things are making sense.
They love jokes about cum, they love jack-off jokes, and they love
Piss
fart
Zits,
and
man.
jokes.
shit.
No, big
Yeah.
zits.
Big
That's
zits.
their forte.
Gross skin stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we got that going on the live action side of this thing, and then Piet Kroon and Tom Sido directed the animated side. So I looked up these guys, and there's just no information on these guys. They did this thing.
Well, they did a bad job in this movie. It never
it
hired
didn't
anywhere
go
else.
well.
I wouldn't say the animation was bad.
The animation wasn't bad animation.
The movie was bad.
We'll get there. Keep talking about the studio.
Keep going.
So,
I'm sorry.
all right.
I got thoughts on this.
It gets very confusing. This whole thing is confusing all the way up to this all-star fucking cast that makes no sense, okay? Bill Murray, Chris Rock, Lawrence Fishburne, David Hyde Pierce, Brandy.
Oh, I looked her up.
Yes.
I got
sort
thoughts
of
on her
known
later.
for her DUI that I think turned out really bad, but also known for good songs like The Boy Is Mine.
So, let me just say what I found out about Brandy that I thought was interesting in regards to this movie is that it is not on her Wikipedia page.
Does it have the stuff about her crime, but not about Osmosis Jones?
I was just trying to find this movie on there.
Brandy has 18 DUIs, but has never appeared in any picture ever in any Hollywood film.
Stop.
Her Wikipedia page is differently written, though, than most celebrity pages, where it seems like it was written by a PR company and is very resume kind of. And then Brandy went on to do this in 2004, very weird language compared to others.
Weird.
So yeah, that sort of jumped out at me. And I went and looked at, of course, it's on the filmography of Bill Murray and Chris who the fuck?
Chris Elliott.
Or basically everyone else in this movie. It's on their Wikipedia page, but she doesn't have a filmography listing or whatever.
Interesting.
It's very strange, yeah.
Well, with good reason.
I would be embarrassed.
Okay.
Who plays Osmosis Jones?
Chris Rock, dude.
Chris Rock.
Yes. Okay, so we also have Chris Elliott.
No, I mean...
Yeah.
And Ron Howard, Molly Shannon.
I'm just going to remember Chris.
You guys and Kid Rock.
No, Kidney Rock. He was Kidney Rock.
He played Kidney Rock.
In the club.
The guy who was in the club rapping about a Floby.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's
God,
the
I
thing.
hated this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should disclaimer this by saying if you have a weak stomach, don't even
Trigger
mess.
warning.
Trigger warning.
Poops, farts,
Like,
Vomit,
for
lots of
real,
vomit.
it's bad.
pedophilia.
The beat down
pedophilia.
your body takes.
There's a brief
There is
moment
a brief
of pedophilia.
moment.
There's a pedophile joke in the
We'll
movie.
get
We'll
to
get
it.
there. We'll
it was
get there
very
later.
upsetting.
You guys paid more attention than I did.
But like really, fart jokes, poop jokes, pee jokes, armpit jokes, confusing sex jokes with the pedophilia stuff. It's a mess. So if you are weak of stomach, you have been warned.
Definitely don't watch this movie.
Unsubscribe. Delete your Facebook.
Sad reacts only.
Hit the
Yeah.
jam, lawyer up.
Okay, so Osmosis Jones is like 2 movies happening at one time. We have this animated side that is over the top buddy cop drama, like making fun of that genre. Chris Rock is Osmosis Jones, the maverick cop. He's a pain in the ass. He's a laughing stock. God damn it, Jones.
He's a loose cannon.
He's a
believes-
loose cannon.
In
Jones.
conspiracy theories, like that Building 7 was a controlled demolition, and he tells the mayor later.
He's a mess.
remember that
And on the live action side, we have this like CPS investigation waiting to happen with Bill Murray being totally incompetent, gross man dad. And somehow this all comes together to be just a thing.
Was there a subplot on the Bill Murray side other than trying to not die from eating? Like he just eats food that
He ate a
drops.
poop egg.
He eats eggs. Yeah,
He ate a poopy
We're
egg at
getting
the
to
start.
the poopy egg.
Okay, we'll
It's an
get
egg that
there.
he drops in monkey poop. So like,
That's actually the entire movie.
that's how AIDS started.
Yeah.
So he starts AIDS and also like trying to be a good dad to his daughter. Are there
Yes.
any other subplots?
Wait, there's the height.
There's the
and
chicken
the
wing.
restraining order.
The chicken wing
Getting in the
healthcare
way.
initiative.
No, but
Yes.
that goes in with his daughter. But what's the restraining order thing?
So we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Molly Shannon has the restraining order.
Wait,
She's
we'll
the
get
teen-
there.
Okay, we're gonna
We'll
get
get
there.
So yeah, there's just a whole subplot that I missed though, and I had the feeling going through this movie, like it was just hard for me to get. Like, this was a rough one for me.
To that end, what I have chosen as our format is I want each of these dudes to kind of just give us a recap of what happened on animation side, live action side, and then we'll talk about how those things play in together.
Should we split it? Like one of us gets one of each
Yes,
side.
so you're going to do the animation side.
Okay, good, because I know that one better.
Fantastic.
Good.
And
And I know neither
Patrick
of them very well.
is going to hit it from the live action side.
Okay.
So I believe we, other than the cop music at the start live action side?
Yes.
Okay.
The movie opens with Bill Murray.
I'm not gonna be able to do this like scene for scene at all.
It's
It
okay.
doesn't
We don't have
matter.
to do it scene for scene.
We're not, it's not worth it scene for scene.
No, it's not.
Okay?
It's really not. It's not worth going chronologically because
Well, we already talked about him eating the poop egg.
So he eats the poop egg, and this is what kicks off the entire movie because
And there's no reason he just he's eating an egg and putting salt on it, right? And he just
the
happens
monkey
to drop
grabs it from him.
He
Okay,
put
right.
a
Yeah, and then he
mayonnaise
wrestles-
packet
he
on it
wrestles the-
first.
He wrestles the monkey through the cage and grabs the egg back, but it falls in the poop. So not only was the egg in the monkey's mouth, it also fell in the poop.
Right.
So he got some kind of like double whammy of Lawrence Fishman virus that came in and just like took him out. Straight took him out.
is the guy. But he just eats the egg because he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Like,
eat the
fuck
egg.
you.
Well, we
monkey?
find out at the beginning of this movie that Bill Murray is a fucking idiot that literally will eat any food.
He's like
near
scratching
him,
his
raw
ass
or
and
not.
eating a corn dog before he gets to the egg.
He's
Right.
Shrek. He's the closest thing to Shrek.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
without being green.
Honestly, I think this is what Norm Macdonald is like in real life. Like
He
Bill
just eats
Murray's
poop eggs?
character is based on what Norm Macdonald. Like he's watched Norm Macdonald like go to like Quick Trips and just like eat all the food out of the fucking
Ew.
things. Apparently, Norm Macdonald is like
He's got like an open tab.
really crazy in
An
real
open
life.
tab at Quick Trip.
Sadness.
Yeah.
So anyway, from that point, Lawrence Fishman enters the body.
As a virus.
Wait, though, we see the animated inside of Bill Murray's mouth.
Right,
as
we
he's
see a
chewing
CGI
up this nasty ass egg.
Yeah.
And it's
Ugh.
like
Okay,
saliva.
And then we cut to animated Osmosis Jones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he's like riding in the city.
But okay, so right off the bat, his facial expressions, the way that they're animated, to me was like, oh god, this is terrible. This is really cheaply done. There's like 4 cells that are very hand drawn, and this is made, when was this movie?
2001.
2001. Okay, so this is in the time when they were already computer animating hand like
Yes.
Disney animation, like Futurama and stuff like that. Like I think The Simpsons was computer animated by this point. But this is, I'm pretty sure, hand drawn. And the backgrounds, the matte backgrounds all look really good. Or for a lot of the movie they do. A lot of the time they're like digital stuff on top of it. But right away initially, the like character animations, especially in the faces, Osmosis Jones anyway, looked like hot garbage to me.
Well, that whole thing was weird because there's like humanoid, but then they do regular cell shit, like squish down to
this
nothing.
is one of my questions about
like,
this movie as a whole.
Cell, when I said cell, I meant like the animation cells.
Right.
It doesn't.
I knew
It's
what
a
you
mess,
meant.
yes.
Yeah.
But my question is why do cells have hair? Why do they
Facial
wear
hair.
clothes?
Well, and
Do they have car
his
insurance?
grinning mouth is like grotesquely wide.
Yeah.
To the
Well,
point where
okay,
it's like big teeth.
but this
it almost
plays
looks like
into
he's
later.
supposed to be like spooky.
Because he can like rearrange his face and his body.
Right, sure.
So he has like weird, he's like morphy.
And none of that bothered me. It was really just the facial. It looked like the old like 60s The Grinch movie to me.
It did.
Yeah.
Where like his face morphs around
You're
in
right.
that kind of way.
He looks evil. He looks like an evil character.
He looks
kind
evil, and he looks like where the face, they only drew like 4 faces and then drew like a bunch of transition cells that make those, but they only drew like half as many as they needed to. So the way that he like turns into a smile just looks like creepy almost.
Yeah.
It
Like
is.
his grin, like, is just odd. So, where are we? We just got eaten?
He
He
goes in-
egg, we meet Osmosis Jones.
Who's
Yeah.
riding in a helicopter and shooting the gun at the virus stuff that came in with the egg.
So, what is he doing? You're gonna have to help me out with, like, what he's doing. I remember, like, meeting Osmosis Jones, he, like, does something. Doesn't he kind of mess it up?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
he fucks up.
He
hard.
fucks up all the time.
He's a mess.
So, like, he fucks up, and how does he, specifically, how does he fuck up this thing that he's on? Like, this is just like every cop movie.
Okay.
Where we cut to
Yeah.
a cop, and he's, like, a streetwise,
He's
like...
a white blood cell.
Yeah.
And he's
But he's a
in
black man.
chase. He's a black
He's
man.
he's very stereotypically black.
Oh my
Like,
god.
he
Okay,
says,
all right.
like,
we're here. We're
word,
here already.
like-
We've
We're
gotten there.
here.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's let Jill break down.
So-
Is this movie racist, Jill? Is this movie because Frank is a white man, and yet everyone inside
Every
him
white
is a
blood cell
racial
is a
stereotype?
black
Is
man.
a mess.
Yeah.
So Frank he's like a city, right? For all these cells. He is stereotype city. Every fucking character we meet is some overly exaggerated stereotype
Or
of
movie
racial-
reference.
Stereotype, yeah.
It's like, so does this stereotype city exist in all of us? Or is Frank just like an extra garbage person and this
Well,
is
I
what
can't
his
speak for
cells
everyone,
turn
but
to?
all of my cells are super racist. All of mine are white supremacist, like super
That
racist.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Taxation is theft.
It's ridiculous. So we have all levels of society, though, because when he's up in the copter, there's like the dudes who hang out in the mouth and deal with things like on the front lines of the mouth. Osmosis is like a cop.
He's streetwise.
He's a beat
He's
cop.
very
Yeah.
streetwise.
Is this an appropriate time to bring up that every white blood cell, and they're all involved in the police force, which makes sense.
Yes.
I like how they did that with this movie, where they actually did like a decent job of thinking about like how, kind of like how a body works. Like if you're going to make a movie that was this dumb.
It's
Like-
basically an instructional video part of the way. Like,
Right,
Partly
like-
it's like an accurate description
It
of the way
goes
the
a
body
little
works.
magic
You
school bus
can
on
tell
you.
that there was some faction pushing for that in the development of this.
Which is unfortunate because that's like the meat and potatoes of the dialogue is like the body and like puns about stuff.
I feel like you either had to go fully one way or the other. It's almost kind of like they tried to make it something that they would like show in schools, but it's not quite like...
I think they
It's not
went
smart enough
as
for that.
far as they could, leaning into the direction they went.
Yeah.
Like they decided to go in the like
Right.
punny like.
Right.
Every reference is going to be a body part, except it's like a one-to-one to a human thing. Which doesn't make any fucking sense.
yeah.
Because the only person who can see outside the body is Mayor Quimby,
Yeah.
played by William Shatner.
All right,
And
but
Secretary Brandy, briefly.
Okay,
I
'cause
didn't
she's
realize
there
that was
too.
William Shatner.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Man,
I
we're
forgot
going
to say
way
William
off the rails.
Shatner.
Yeah, we're going way off the rails. But
Way
it's
off the
okay.
rails.
We don't have to go by,
There's no
chrono-
rails.
It's okay.
It's a crazy train.
This movie
Yeah.
fucking is so gross
Yeah.
that it all just like melts
Like,
together like
okay,
a
it
giant
It is
snot
weird.
bubble that it is.
I'm enjoying it now more thinking about it.
Yeah,
Immediately,
it's so bad.
though, it's not just how it looks. Like, you're seeing his nasty ass gums and shit, but the sounds.
Yeah, the sound
Like,
is really...
Oh, they did.
Like,
Yeah, they did some
full
good.
on,
There's
I
lots
am
of
sounds.
sick.
There's lots of splorches.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moisture.
Oh, and
in
they
the
walk
sound.
around. It's just like squish, squish,
Yeah.
squish. Like, ugh.
It has okay. You know what's funny is the Rick and Morty episode reminds me a lot of the movie, the one where they go inside the where he has the Jurassic Park inside the person's
Yes.
body.
Yeah.
It's like a very close. There's like cells that work there.
They
and
took
do
it from
stuff.
Osmosis Jones.
I mean, I'm not
basically.
saying they copied it, but
Well, I mean, it is like I said, it's a good idea. They like pursued that idea of like different parts of your body being different like departments in a city, more or less.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's a good way to like think about it.
and visualize
But-
it all like.
So to spin it back, like every white blood cell is a member of the police force or whatever. And when he gets a "You're a loose cannon, Jones" type speech, and he's like, "Oh, boss, like, you know, give me a last chance." And he's like, "All right, I'm going to put you on this new assignment that just come up, and it's gonna like that's gonna be your thing, you know, and that's gonna give me the out to fight." I mean, it doesn't say that, but that's in every movie, like every single movie like this. It's very, very much Lethal Weapon. Like
It is.
It's every cop movie.
Except when when Larry Fishman shows up, it becomes like a violent slasher movie.
Oh yeah,
briefly.
His thing
It
is like
does.
horrible.
Yeah.
So he
Violent.
arrives in the body somehow that I'm blacking out.
He came in on the nasty ass egg.
No, yeah, on the egg, but like, so when he arrives in the body, he like, I think he splashes down on the stomach, and there's again like a somewhat ethnic
Yeah.
you know, worker down in the dregs of the stomach
Who
like,
gets eated.
cleaning up acid spills or something, and Jerry Fishburne pops out of the water and like has a huge. He's just like evil right out of the
He
gates.
is, and
he's
he
super
says
evil
things
looking.
like, "I'm gonna heat it up, baby."
Yeah.
Like he's really.
First of
too
all, his
much.
performance in this movie is amazing.
Is he
Fair
is he
enough.
sexy Jafar? Can I?
He's
open
yeah,
that
sexy
far?
Jafar.
Yeah, you think you could call him that fairly.
Trademarked.
We could also call him
So-
Larry Birdman.
Immediately, he sticks his like finger becomes glowing and like horrible and spiky and long, elongated, and he sticks it into the chest of Larry.
He just starts
Larry
dragging it
Worker.
along the inside of wherever he is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
as he
like-
walks up
creating
the
bad
stairs, he
shit.
drags it on the wall, and it like tendrils of red infection come
It
out.
does some of that nasty Fern Gully shit.
Right, Fern Gully. That's what it got me too.
Yeah, I got some Fern Gully
Yeah.
echoes from this movie.
Yeah.
too. Some not quite the same level of like environmental message, but
It was like, don't pollute your body. Then.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
And so
Don't
on that
put
level,
garbage in
that's
your body.
kind of what it reminded me.
If I was a little kid, this may well have freaked me out, like Fern Gully did.
Dude,
Fern Gully scared the shit out of me.
I mean, I think we may have picked up on it right there. That may be why they made it to
Right.
scare the shit out of
So
kids.
you would eat
That's
good
definitely the
food,
message.
So you won't
Yeah,
die.
no, it's hammered into you from the very beginning. His daughter, from the first fucking scene, is saying, "Dad, you gotta eat a vegetable every once in a while, or you're gonna die." She says something
He's
like
like, but I want a poop egg.
Yeah.
I know, but his thing, the most important thing was he should have just been washing his fucking hands. Like, you work at
Yeah.
a damn
Or
zoo.
don't eat poop eggs.
Don't
Like-
eat a poop
Look,
egg.
he is a single dad, down on his luck. He has to work
Shut
at
the
a
hell
zoo
up.
to make ends meet. He cleans up shit for a living. He hugs monkeys every day. Like, this guy is working really hard for his family, and family court is going to take his child away from him.
Oh
You
my
know, it's
gosh.
kind of a giant dig on like little kids that are like, I want to be a zookeeper, and it's
Yep.
like, yeah,
He
that-
wanted to be a zoo goon.
yeah, they kind of shit all over. Like they literally, their other zoo employees drive over at one point and shit on them for
They
being
do.
like, "You're the dumbest ones in the zoo," and they're like, "Oh, not us." Like, no, we were talking to the camels. Like, what is sorry, you have to work with the two dumbest people in the zoo.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's fine," and they're like, "Oh, we were talking to the camels," and like
camels.
peel out. With like a babe on each arm.
Oh my god.
It was.
Hey, zoo people are ridiculously cool. I don't know if you know this, but I used to party with some in high school.
They're
And they were really
coolest.
cool. He was like, this guy named Greg was like 38, and he used to bring the animals to the parties. It was cool.
Patrick.
Okay. We gotta get back to the thing that Osmosis does, because this film is terrible in like a billion ways, but something I do like about it is how things inside the body affect the outside and things outside affect the inside.
Yeah, I would say that's like the
So
only
they're
good
on
thing
a
about the movie.
stupid car chase through what is an urban landscape, because that's what this white man has inside him. And Osmosis is like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking shoot him," and they're like, "God damn it, Jones, don't do it."
Wait,
And
is Osmosis not a title?
that's
No.
his first name.
Did you know that his
They call him
initials
Ozzy.
are OJ? Did you pick up on that?
OJ?
Maybe.
Did you know that the other title for this movie was OJ American Crime Story?
Stop it. Anyway, he's firing his
think that's
gun
accurate.
because he's a loose cannon, and
AKA
he hits
Bill
a
Murray eats a
nerve
poop egg.
center and causes a cramp in Bill Murray.
That's why. Oh yes, that's why he got right.
Yes.
And hitting nerves does not cause cramps.
The science
Okay.
is playing fast
Yeah.
and loose.
First of all, what do you know about the body?
I know what
that
causes
Osmosis
cramps.
Jones
Doctor.
I know
doesn't know
a
about
buildup
it.
of lactic acid in the muscles is what causes a
so
cramp.
he probably ate a whole bunch of fucking like salty shit, and then
Yes.
Osmosis Jones shot a nerve
His
cluster.
diet's garbage. But then we see Bill Murray with like an ice tray up the inside of his shorts. And he's like, give me some fried chicken. And just keeps being a piece of shit. Like,
This is how he ends up getting David Hyde Pierce's character introduced in the movie, because Mayor Quimby takes over his body, which
What
is
else
a
has
thing in
David-
this movie.
What else has David Hyde Pierce been in?
He was Frasier's brother.
Oh, okay. That's,
He was other Frasier.
Right.
So
that was Frasier. Yeah.
Frasier
That's what I was
2.0.
saying. I said, holy
he
shit.
was little Frasier.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, he's the best.
so
His
he
daughter makes him take a cold pill.
right, but Mayor Quimby takes over his body.
Right.
He puts in the nuclear
Marionette
launch
style.
Overrides it. Yeah, with
and
the key.
overrides,
Yeah.
and fucking takes over the body. So that's a thing in the
Yeah.
movie. The cells can just literally take over your body and do whatever they want. So
No,
he eats the
only
cold
the
pill.
mayor.
did
Only
we
the
say
mayor. They have to have
Shatner's
key.
the mayor?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shatner is the mayor.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm calling him mayor.
And Brandy is like his secretary that's going like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her role, is to
Yeah.
be the
She's
voice of
hippie.
reason.
Also to make
She's a
out with
hippie gal.
Osmosis Jones.
Also,
at the end of the
Osmosis
movie.
Jones wants to fuck her really bad.
Cells do mitosis, I'm pretty sure.
They do.
Wait, there's the line where she's like,
Oh, I
he's
have
like,
it.
let's
Hang
get
on.
together.
I have it.
Okay. What does he say?
He says a whole bunch of one-liners to her, and I didn't write any of those down because they were stupid as fuck. But she says to him in response, "You look like the kind of cell who divides with himself."
Ooh.
Wow.
Bam.
Sick
A jerk-off
burn.
joke in a kid's movie.
Sick burn.
Yeah. Here we go. So anyway, at this point, David Hyde Pierce shows up as a character named Dix.
Drix.
And
No.
he proceeds
Drix.
to come all over everything in the body with
He
his blue
shoots
liquid.
his magic cooling soothing sauce.
And he's like, don't worry here, kids. It's just a common throat infection.
And he's doing his best to do an impression of what's that actor's
Kevin
name?
Kline is
Kevin
who I
Kline.
thought it was.
He's doing a Kevin Kline impression in this movie. Like
Kevin
he's
Kline
doing
in
his
what?
very best.
Kevin
Just
Kline
Kevin Kline voice.
refused.
That's like his. They
No,
were like,
give me a movie.
we wa-
In
fucking
and
Wild Wild
Out,
West.
Wild
Okay.
Wild West.
Okay.
He's what's the guy's name? The nerdy white guy in Wild Wild West that makes all the inventions.
Gadget Man.
Artemis
Smith.
or whatever. I
Will
don't know
Smith's
his
from
name.
the Gadget Man.
Will Smith.
That's
Yeah,
Rio.
Will Smith. Yes.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh. He was the guy in the wheelchair in that movie. For anyone who's actually paying attention.
No one's paying attention.
Thank you.
For anyone that has to turn this off, by the
For
way.
anyone who hasn't already turned
Kenneth
this off.
Branagh is the white guy in Wild Wild West.
Oh,
We actually
bless
had
him.
to had to stop recording and re-record this whole thing because the first one was just racial slurs about the movie.
Right. Well, we
So-
kept going like, word?
Yeah. So anyway,
He takes the cold pill.
Takes a cold pill, and it is Niles Frazier, and he blows his blue
Goo.
his arm goo all over the thing to cold down the throat and give him soothing relief. And Osmosis Jones is like, yo, that's whack.
oh god,
This is a crime scene. And he's like, stand aside, citizen. Like, I'm on the case. And fucking, so like, you know, he's, now it's a good cop, bad cop movie. Or buddy cop movie. Like, he's one that does it by the books.
yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Training Day, their
Sure.
relationship.
What?
Training Day was inspired
Yeah.
by Osmosis
He takes
Jones.
a big hit off of his arm
Alternative
bone.
facts. You're both
It's
idiots.
like, you gotta hit this so
Yeah.
that I know you're not a cop.
So I know you're cool.
But he,
Yeah.
like he talks about how
both
he was
cops. What are you talking
developed
about?
at the University of Shalama.
Okay.
And he's like the
Shimada
fancy
Shalama.
cold
Can we
pill.
talk about
Whoa,
how
Jill.
the
Shimada
pill
Shalama.
knows where it came from, and they also mention Thorazine in this fucking movie? Why does a cell know what Thorazine is, and why is that in a children's movie?
Frankly, these cells know a lot of things that
Okay.
don't make
Yeah.
any
I have so
fucking
many
sense.
questions.
Well, they conceptualize outside of the body. Osmosis Jones later on has a whole thing about him seeing the
He does the
life,
flashback.
the whole life of this guy and knowing what his life is, so he's gonna like make sure that the daughter is like taken care of. Like he conceptualizes life out like the human world. Like
Jesus.
I mean,
It's deep.
they're people. The cells are people, you guys. Every time you sneeze,
Everything
you're
is
genocide. Turns
What I
out.
learned is that when there's pollen in the air, the little mans in your nose have to shoot the pollen, and if
To
they
turn it
miss
into
the
a
pollen,
booger.
That's what makes you sneeze. And see, that's why, because all the guys in my nose abandoned their posts like a decade ago. So that's why my shit is just all fucked up all the time.
So, interesting things though, as we're like flying around the body, all of the like cilia and stuff is like little cities. With like windows and stuff. They do like...
It's really gross, by the way.
They do a decent job, like for kids though, of showing that like inside of your body is not, mostly like not you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, you're like, what do they say? Like a third or more of your body weight is like bacteria. That's not
just hanging out.
That's not like human like
living
cells.
in your armpits, doing the Godfather.
Well, just your guts. And,
that scene is fucking horrible.
Like mostly your guts. Let's be real. But
when the bad guy when Larry Fishman comes in and pulls a Joker and kills the main bad guy and takes over the game. He becomes the Joker and then he burns down a building later and walks away. And I was like, The Dark Knight.
So
saw that.
Where do we go plot-wise? And now we're at Lawrence Fishburne as the virus. He goes and he kills the main... He does like a Joker scene where he kills like the main...
That's what he just said.
That's your scene.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I know when you're talking about actors and stuff.
We find out about...
No, you gotta tell me this is like...
Larry Fishburne. His name is Thrax.
Okay, I have to be honest. That is the first time that I've heard that.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing that.
I mean, no, like
You
seriously,
two
I feel like I blacked out in this movie. I was completely sober for watching this movie, and I feel like I am like when you have a blackout night and you're remembering stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Like, and I only saw this a couple hours ago today. Like, and
this movie gave me the pimp skitters.
Stop.
No,
So we find out his motivation though. He is like obsessed with getting into medical textbooks and he wants to work very quickly and he does this by fucking with the hypothalamus. So it like messes with how the body regulates temperature and then you just burn up till you're dead.
Well, no, we're not at that point yet. That's at 3/4 of the way through the movie when he announces this.
Well,
early
and that's
when the movie,
that's the club
he's
scene.
like, I'm the baddest though.
Is that the scene that you were talking about?
That's the scene with Kidney Rock.
Okay, early on in the movie, he goes and does a Joker scene and kills the one bad guy.
That's what I was talking about.
Gets like the other 4 goons. Like,
when he goes in the armpit.
And all of these guys are different disease germs.
Yeah.
Like they,
so he's bragging though.
And that was kind of cool.
Come on, boss. Why do we gotta do that? They all talk like that.
He is.
Well, but do they say that they're like, I'm Streptococcus? Or
they
like,
don't say.
Okay,
I don't
they
think
don't
so.
Say. All right, damn it. So like.
And he doesn't say what he is ever, does he?
They call him. Someone else calls him the Red Death.
Oh yeah, that's right. He says that they called him the Red Death.
Yes, because he just.
Pretty sure that's the name of like a famous
It's
Polish...
an Edgar Allan Poe story.
Oh, okay.
The Mask of the Red Death.
I think it's also the name of like a famous Polish division in World War II.
Oh yeah?
So
that makes sense.
I think so.
The thing that is going to save Frank, because Mayor Quimby, who's running for re-election inside of Frank's body. If you're keeping up with the politics of this children's movie, he thinks the thing that will save healthcare... And indeed, in America...
But it's William Shatner doing a Mayor Quimby.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should say it's Mayor
Because
Shatner.
it's not Frank Azaria.
No.
Or Hank Azaria, I mean.
No, he just reminds me of Mayor Quimby.
Is Hank Azaria Mayor Quimby? I think he is.
I don't know.
Pretty sure.
But he decides that in order to fix things, they have to go to a chicken wing convention.
Okay, but this is when we...
Right, that's not quite what happens, though.
We're crossing plots, buddy.
Yeah.
Because
But they don't go straight to chicken wing convention either. She wants to go on a hike.
She wants to go on a hike.
And he wants to bail on that, but still wants a father-daughter thing to do.
But
so he comes up with a chicken wing convention.
We think he's refusing because he's just a lazy fuck.
No, but they showed the plan for it early in the movie. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the scene earlier in the movie where he just brings it up and says, this is what we have planned. When Brandy's in his office and the cop is there. Yeah.
But we find out he's not just a lazy fuck.
Yeah.
He can't go on the hike.
Because he's got a restraining order.
So this was a good, though, animated live-action crossover part. Because we're getting Osmosis Jones talking about how he really fucked up in the past, which coincides with why Bill Murray can't.
This is Osmosis Jones telling the story of his memory of what Bill Murray's life has been. So Osmosis Jones has been with Bill Murray for a long time and has had...
His parents came over on the umbilical cord.
How long do white blood cells last
not
in your
that
body?
long.
Yeah.
So, but he's been essentially, riding around in the eyeball, apparently, constantly and just like witnessing his whole life. So, or somehow maybe all the cells have like a, Ender's Game hive consciousness type.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's okay.
This movie.
It's okay.
Okay, I
We'll
mean,
get
that's
it.
the only thing that makes sense, because otherwise you have to ask a bunch of questions about how the fuck he would know any of this information.
So much information.
But it cuts to
So he's having a flashback, and it cuts
Bill
to
Murray's daughter's science fair.
Tell us about it.
This is gross.
So-
This is the grossest part of the movie.
This is my favorite scene in the movie because Bill Murray eats a raw oyster, and I
Why?
like to believe.
Why does he eat the
Why does
oyster?
he eat it?
I tuned this out and came back to him eating the oyster and was like, what was the impetus?
So the
why
kid-
he ate it.
The kid tells him, he's like, well, I put them in the water and they wash back and forth a couple times. I think they're clean. And he was like, all right, how much you want for
Oh,
them?
was the kid science experiment about oysters filtering water?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Except you should not eat a raw oyster, probably.
that has filtered a ton of water.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Like, as an experiment. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds literally like the oysters that you should not eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he immediately turns green after
He
does
says,
this.
and I remember this, he says to the kid, is it safe to eat? And the kid says, if my hypotenuse is correct, or something like that. if the hypotenuse is correct. Like, what fucking hypotenuse?
Oh, and then they later, when this is actually one of the funnier moments in the movie, when
but
Molly
he
Shannon
eats it,
walks up
he eats
after
it
he eats it.
immediately goes, you should recheck your math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Molly Shannon walks up and tells
Molly
him
Shannon.
that kid is slow, and they gave him that experiment like yesterday.
did it in a day.
He
see, I
did it
missed
in a
that
day.
too, yeah.
So it's obviously that is the only funny part of the movie, when Molly Shannon is there, basically. Which is unfortunate because Bill Murray is in this fucking movie, and he's Bill Murray.
He's not a
so
funny
goddamn
role. He's
gross.
meant to be like the sad sack. Like, yeah.
So he's
Not even the dude. It'd be funny if they made him the dude from Caddyshack, where he's
Yeah.
kind of like a weird, like...
still like dirty and too wet all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
too wet. Yeah, he's very wet for some
He's
reason.
moist all the time when you see him.
His character notes are like, he's very wet.
Like all the characters in Lord of the Rings, they were like, you need to be soaked in
Kind of
every
damp.
scene. Yeah,
Sort of
just
damp.
Damp.
Like, yeah.
Stop.
He
My
was, though.
tummy.
He was damp.
My tum-tum.
So anyway,
Eats the oyster.
the oyster goes into the body, and that's when it cuts to Osmosis, who's telling the
Lands
story.
in the stomach.
Oh, the oyster's, like,
which is
crashing down,
an
and there's, like, alert,
airport
like,
bus station.
klaxons going off of like alert, like.
And this is how he lost his credibility as a cop, because he realized that a bad oyster was a bad oyster and ejected it from the body.
Press
Yeah.
the
But
puke button.
it had bad consequences for Frank in real
Because
life.
he puked on Molly.
Molly's
Molly
teacher,
Shannon,
yeah.
the teacher, and this is how we get the restraining order that actually prevents him from going on the hike.
Right, because he puked on her, she got a restraining order.
Right.
She's Molly damn
there's
Shannon.
more to it than that. Because of it happening, it ended up on like the front page of the paper for some fucking
Yeah, he
reason.
lost his job.
He lost
That's
his job.
How he ended up at the
She
fucking
got
zoo.
harangued.
It wasn't
by-
just like, hey, I just ate the oyster from that kid's thing and got sick.
Nope,
No.
that makes too much sense.
This is the problem, because this is like a whole unnecessary layer to
Yes,
this movie.
this
that
is
didn't
the
need to be
problem
there.
with this movie.
No, it's one of like a dozen million problems.
No, but you're right. This is a problem.
This, however, was a good scene of the back and forth between animated what's happening and live action what's happening.
Yes, it was one of the few where they
Fucking
actually used the premise
disgusting.
of the movie to do something with that idea of switching
With
back
it.
and forth between
Yeah.
the body doing something and the animation having an effect on it, and vice versa.
Right.
Whereas in some scenes, and I noted this, like they just cut to black at the end of the scene instead of showing something happening outside the body or like cutting to a part to be creative about it. It just is like a lazy fucking cut to black to the next bit of the real life section or the cartoon section.
Yeah, they didn't. Again, it's like they had like different factions on this that were like, we need to make it really tied into like body functions. I think that if we do it right, we can like make this like a thing that they can show in schools or whatever.
That's a big question.
But then it seems like then there was.
Save it.
Which will say.
Well, no, but then it seems like there was the other faction that was pushing back, going like, we need to tick these other boxes of making it like a kids movie that has this and that.
And I
like,
think that's the problem, is like they
didn't know
it
what they-
wasn't just to try and appeal to everyone like movies nowadays, where it's like we try to make an appealing movie for everyone. It's like we literally try to appeal to this group, this group, this group, this group, and
Yeah.
put in all these elements, and they
It's
don't
too
work
much.
together.
Right. Too many film references.
Yeah,
Too many.
the Titanic guys playing the instruments
Yeah.
as the body is like burning
Oh my
up
God.
at the end.
So, we're jumping ahead. But basically, throughout all this nonsense, Bill Murray is getting sicker and sicker. And fucking Lawrence Fishburne is just like, I'm gonna touch it, infection all over the body. And then we're at the present. So Bill Murray's getting sicker and sicker, goes to see Molly Shannon because Secretary Brandy up in his head is like, Frank, I'm your conscience. Go on the hike with your daughter.
Don't fuck this up.
He goes to see Molly Shannon to plea with her, make this plea, please let me go with my daughter. Another good crossover scene though, because at the same time there is a fight happening that is in a nightclub on a major zit on his forehead.
Oh my god.
So,
okay, so...
please,
Oh, and that's
Patrick.
why I didn't understand why the zit popped at that one point, because...
It was because they set
The
off
fight
a
went off.
grenade.
Yeah.
They set off a Dick's grenade that was full of jizz, and it exploded, and Molly Shannon got jizz and goop on her
I've
face.
had zits.
On her lip,
I mean, let's
though.
be real.
On her
yeah.
lip.
We've all had zits.
Everyone
I've had
has
zits. I've had big ones. Amazing zits.
They never exploded
They've
on a
never
person?
exploded outwards.
Spontaneously, just like-
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mess with them, I guess in theory they could do
But
that.
he's
No,
a garbage
I don't think so.
person who eats poop eggs.
He's a garbage person that eats poop. eggs.
Okay,
Yeah.
and also...
I've never eaten a poop
This
egg,
is
but
another
I am a garbage
scene
person.
where something happening inside the body actually affects what's happening in the
Yes.
movie. And they make a point to, like, and this is one of the grossest fucking things in the whole movie. They cut to a close-up
Why
of
does
the zit, and it's like a weird, like, pulsating
My stomach hurts.
model, or, like, they made
it looks like a rubber?
They
like,
made it
zit.
out of something.
It looks like a rubber.
Or, like, plasticine
Yeah.
or something.
No,
They
no,
made it.
it looks exactly like in There's Something About Mary when, like, Boogie, or Woogie, or was it, whatever his name is, he's Woogie, that, like, stole the shoes. He shows up and he's got, like, these big, like, zits all over his face. Remember that? Remember that?
No, I
No.
blocked out most of that movie.
I feel so sick.
Any movie with Ben Stiller in it,
Anyway, he's
Can't
got the
watch them.
same, it's the same Farley Brothers,
Yeah.
same prosthetics, basically. They had hired the same company to do,
Yeah.
like, prosthetic zits.
and it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it keeps cutting back and forth while Molly Shannon and Bill Murray, who I have dubbed BM as I was taking notes because he's fucking gross, and they're talking about why they can't be around each other, and he's like trying to get a second chance, and then of course he ruins it by exploding his...
on
Zit onto
her
her lips.
lip.
Ugh, ugh.
Like, come on, man.
Ugh.
This, at that point, so upsetting. Like,
I wouldn't give him a second chance either if it went on my lip. I
No.
mean, let's be real.
No.
Yeah. I don't know why she got a restraining order in the first place. Maybe because a zit went on her lip.
No, that
no.
was before.
that was before.
He
know,
already
it
had
was
the
it.
restraining
But
order.
maybe it did 10 years ago, also. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he's
He's a repeat offender.
or, something similar.
Well, I mean, dude, he's just gross. Like, fluids come off that guy at an inordinate
It's
rate.
disgusting.
Right.
So
He's greasy.
clearly he takes a turn for the absolute worst.
His
and
wife
he's-
died because he's a disease-carrying
Stop.
bubonic
That's
plague
not
patient,
nice.
and he fucking has quick trips-induced meningitis.
Okay. But our homeboy gets sick as fuck, okay? Skipping ahead a little
Quick
bit.
trips induced like from the toilet seat?
No,
Who even knows
just
there?
From
just
the egg rolls.
from while
Yeah.
eating the food or like using the drink.
I'm gonna throw up. I'm serious. This movie, like, should come packaged with United Airlines barf bag.
You know, I was gonna say, if you played this on a fucking airplane, this would be considered
You
terrorism.
would get a
This is
United
terrorism.
Airlines beat down in your
The
stomach.
NSA would show up and
Warranting
fucking
that United Airlines
waterboard you
barf
for
bag.
showing this to people.
So,
Fucking gross.
to quickly jump up the plot, the bad guy goes to the forehead zit for some reason, which is also a
He
nightclub.
goes to explain his
Oh,
entire...
it's because all the germs are in the
Yeah.
zit. I got it now. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
But
see,
actually,
the movie actually has some intelligence to
No,
it.
because in real life, a zit is like a bunch of white blood cells.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
God
so
damn it.
He goes there, but Osmosis Jones follows him, and
He poorly undercovers.
He undercovers himself by making his two eyes into one eye and making his head into like a Rasta,
Yeah.
White
like,
people dreads.
dreadlocks.
And then he orders
kind
a
of thing.
beer that looks like snot and
Yeah.
drinks it and turns like
So
red.
like-
he infiltrates the meeting somehow where the bad guy reveals his whole plot to go and infect the hypothalamus and raise the body temperature enough that Bill Murray just fucking dies.
Yes.
Like, which is very much just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like,
Because
Yeah.
he's been doing
Yeah.
better and better, right?
Well, and I've been
sometimes it
thinking-
takes a week, sometimes it takes 3 days. He's trying
He
to
wants
get
to do it
Bill
in 2
Murray
days.
in 48 hours.
yeah. Well, and I've been trying to think that maybe this guy's plan was to, like, get himself out of the body, but it's just to literally kill his host. And all of the germs shouldn't be on board with this. They should just jump him at that point because they're living in that body.
Yeah, that's the
If
part
Bill
that
Murray
doesn't make any
dies,
sense.
yeah, and even from the very beginning, like, no one's thought of this. None of the bad guy germs who are all like...
None of you survived.
All
This
the-
gross fucker dies.
Right, yeah, so they're all just, like, on board, like, yeah... I mean, it's like a fear thing, I guess.
I think the implication of him having multiple of the, like, brain cell thing, or whatever the fuck he had from the nerve cluster.
He took DNA beads from
Okay.
each person he killed.
Yeah, so I think the implication of that is that he did plan to leave when he killed him.
Because
he was
he
planning
had
to go to the
pods,
next person.
like
yeah.
germ
Oh, I want to
butthole
bring up
pods.
something that I forgot earlier, where Osmosis Jones's gun shoots something that looks like a molecule, and it flies through the air, and it kind of spins like a molecule would, and it's like a bunch of little balls connected by bars. And
I didn't even notice.
And then when other stuff, whenever anything blows up or dies, it like turns into other of these same like
Is it, like,
orange molecules.
Liquid?
No, it's just supposed to be like whatever he's shooting is some sort of like molecule or like what do they call it? Enzyme or like
Okay.
some organic like thing that he's shooting at this thing. Like everything's like organic molecules, and when they shoot it, it dissolves into like carbon chains. Like that was cool as fuck to me actually. Like that jumped out at me. In the whole movie, they were consistent with it. Whenever anyone dies, they not the germs, they dissolve into like gross like
Poop puddle?
green puddles, like and go into little sewer vents, which apparently exist. Like yeah. But so bad guy goes and is like, here's my grand plan. I'm gonna invade the hypothalamus and turn up his body heat and kill him. And so then he does it, I guess, or what happens next?
Okay.
Here's where I'm really
So Frank finds himself in the hospital because his temperature is in. Oh wait,
Jones
we forgot
gets fired
something important.
from the motherfucking force.
We forgot
also.
something important.
What?
So he's like getting this fever. Jones is fired, and we're in Frank's dreams. Bill Murray's disgusting fucking dreams. Which
is the
is
pedophile
where they're like, oh, do you want to come see a moving picture? And so Osmosis Jones goes to
They all
the
talking,
dream
see?
movies. And he walks past these movie posters, right? And it's like the exam, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't prepared."
The exam you haven't studied
But
for.
then,
Yeah.
Patrick, what do we see?
The third poster in is Chris Elliott and his daughter, and it says "Your Nightmare" or like
Your
worst
nightmare. Okay, Chris Elliott is
Oh,
Uncle Bob.
No, it's Chris Elliott with his daughter.
With his
Yeah,
daughter.
and she's like in a wedding gown.
So
on the thing,
Chris
on the poster.
Elliott, I don't know if we said this. He works
Okay,
with him
I
at
didn't
the
take
zoo.
that from a pedophilia standpoint. I took that as like,
But it's her as a 12-year-old.
It's her.
It's her as a
cousin.
12-year-old.
Or whatever.
Sure.
But you're
like,
right.
But that's the only way you would know who that character is.
Maybe my brain just went there.
Yeah, that's on you guys.
But dude, I
My
don't know.
worst
I just took that as her
nightmare.
growing, like his daughter eventually marrying him. Like that's what I took that as.
I needed to see
Dude,
her
it would be
growing up
like
for that.
it'd be
You're
like,
not wrong, but
It'd be like if
you're
if
the
you-
worst
if-
kind of correct. You're technically
If
correct.
the poster was your daughter eventually marrying me.
That kid, like she looks today.
No, but you know what I mean. Or you-
I think they
like-
could have just not made the joke.
We didn't need
We didn't
that
need it.
joke.
But the
this
only-
is a PG.
Oh, no.
It just
absolutely.
made me feel icky.
Yeah, absolutely. That is an icky joke. Like, I mean, no, it really
That's like
is.
a black comedy joke. That's a dark
that is
fucking
no place
joke.
Here. That is an icky fucking joke. But like, if they had to put that joke in, the only way to actually put that joke in would be to put in the actual character as you see her,
Right.
You know, or else.
No, you're right. It
Yeah.
only works as her as a young girl.
Right.
But the implication,
Right.
The
Dennis,
implication.
because of the implication, it's like.
No, no matter
I didn't
what.
Yeah, you're
need
right
it.
though. It's on me for bringing it out, but
I don't think that it was meant to be that
I don't want to
he's
see a
marrying
child
12-year-old.
bride.
it's
I
still
don't wanna
the
see a
imagery
child
is what it is.
bride.
Well, but then what's interesting to me and why they didn't do this later is at some point he was like, "Oh, your daughter's worried about you. You should just tell her that if anything ever happens to you, I'll take care of her, and I'll raise her,
Okay,
and
icky.
and don't worry, I'll just kick her out of the house when she's 16." Which is literally the line. Like, it's Farley
Yes.
Brothers. They're trying to do Farley Brothers shit.
Which
Yeah.
is
Like, and so, but like, if they had the joke on that poster had been that he's like her daughter somehow, then that would have like tied into the later scene and not been like a squicky fucking gross.
it wouldn't have
like-
been as gross.
Oh.
Yeah.
It got there. It was gross to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I agree, but like, I didn't didn't take it as a pedophilia thing when I saw it, but I did see that, and I thought that was kind of a clever scene where he's walking past movie posters and they're like different dreams that everyone has. Where it's like, oh, I don't have pants on in front of my grandma.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm like unprepared for this test.
But that's another weird thing. Like, do kids have those fucking dreams? Do kids have the same point of reference that like an adult would get all of those jokes right away because they're very like on the nose dream.
No, but
things
that was
everyone...
background stuff. Is walking into the theater.
Yeah.
That was one of the jokes that was meant for the adults watching the movie.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
But I mean,
I thought that was one of the ones that was pulled off well. I guess I'm saying.
No, I mean all of the dream showing all of his like subconscious memories as like TV screens playing when the bad guy walks through them.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of clever. Like, Jill pointed out that it was
like that last bit of Interstellar.
Yeah.
You know when he's like, listen to me, and he's shaking and there's the dust and stuff. It was
Right.
like that.
Did you know that also Christopher Nolan not only stole Interstellar from this movie, he also stole Inception.
He
the
totally
idea
stole
of like
Inception.
layers of like things zooming out and then it's occurring in real life and then it goes back into the first layer of the dream, which is inside your body, because obviously none of that should happen.
Okay.
So are we almost at the end of this movie?
We are.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Okay, we know he turns out fine. Okay.
Him and Chris Elliott
At
go...
one point they say like El Pollo Loco. Like, well, I'm just El Pollo Loco. Was that?
You know what? I made a list of all of the what the hell references. We have some Hare Krishna cells at the stomach at the arrival, like it's the airport, and they're like, you know, in their fucking things and play the tambourine.
Yeah.
Why? Osmosis Jones mentions Al Roker, Heavy D, Kid Rock. Oh, Kidney Rock.
Kidney Rock.
They
raps about using a Flowbee. Why would they rap about using a Flowbee?
What's a Flowbee?
It's the thing you put on your vacuum to cut your hair.
Oh, okay.
That's
This haircut thing really sucks.
By the way, that's a
thing.
rad invention.
They talk about James Brown. They do the Titanic Orchestra thing. Osmosis Jones, when David Hyde Pierce the pill is dancing, is like, "You're a big fine cell. Won't you back that thing up?" Like all of these references. And then he does that. My name is what? My name. Like, what are you doing?
My name is Osmosis Jones.
I don't understand these references being here.
Jones.
The list probably.
I'm Chris
continues.
Rock. I made $24 million
That's
to
all
be
I
in
had
this
the
movie.
energy to write down.
Clinically dies.
Yes, he's clinically
but
dead.
on the way to the chicken wing convention is how it all. They're going there in the car and he fucking like strokes out at the wheel.
He sends his daughter on the hike on her
because
own.
of his hypothalamus.
But his hypothalamus is not regulating, and he's like all hot. And Chris Elliott's in the car, and he's like, "Oh, you better pull over, brother."
Hello, brother.
I don't know if he really said it like that. But all of that ends with him going to the hospital. Exactly. Then we get this animation live action scene where Osmosis Jones is fighting Thrax, Lawrence Fishburne, and they end up outside the body, like in our world.
This is where the movie transitions into full-on like Roger Rabbit territory. What is that movie called?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it's like
Classic.
animation in the real world.
Oh, I hated
Except
this.
they're at the
wish
cellular
to
level,
finish.
so nobody in the real world sees this happen.
No.
But they're battling on a fucking eyelash, a fake eyelash that's hanging off of the girl.
Oh, at this point I was like, I went and looked and was like, only 20 minutes.
Oh god! So they wring 20 fucking minutes
But
out
for
of
real,
this
can we
last
wrap this
little
up?
bit. Yeah.
They fight and they get, what is it, sneezed out of his body or coughed out of his body.
They have a fight up and down an eyelash that's very much
That's
like
after.
They
North by
end
Northwest,
up
kind
on
of
his
like kicking
daughter's
someone up and down a
fake
mountain.
eyelash.
Yeah.
And then he uses his ability as a cell to split his body open to fool him into stabbing the thing, and then he falls into some alcohol.
Yeah,
and dies.
so Lawrence
He
Fishburne dies because he stabs his super long tertiary syphilis nail into this fake eyelash, and the eyelash falls in a cup of alcohol.
Oh my god.
And then he just like shrivels up and dies. End of the Red
and the
Death.
way that he dies, he swims up out of the alcohol, and as he's surfacing, he does the most horrific, like pulling himself apart,
Murder.
turning
There's, like,
into like a black, like
Several
horrific-
scenes in this movie were just the ones with him are like horror scenes.
Yeah,
They
like
are.
it's very much
It gets-
Fern Gully. Like it's horrible, like
You're right.
shark,
Especially
like,
that end thing.
Yeah,
where
just
he
like
dies.
really, like this is what horrible death looks like. By the way, children, like
There's a lot of death in this movie too. Like from the very beginning of it,
High
he murders.
cell count?
A high cell count.
So at this point, the day is saved, and what happens from here on out?
All right, the day is saved. She cries Osmosis Jones back into her father's body.
Oh, but he
Gross.
then
He
gets,
brings the thing back
but he
to
gets
put
a
back
pulse.
in his body.
They declared him dead. They're pulling the daughter out of the room, and then all of a sudden, like, his heart rate comes back.
Because she cries a tear into his mouth, and Osmosis Jones returns his little DNA bead.
Yeah.
And then,
'Cause
all
as
is well,
everyone knows-
Bill Murray goes
Seriously,
on the
I
hike.
know nothing from this point.
He,
I learned a
like,
lot about the body from this movie.
It's let it go.
I learned a lot about how the body
Eats
works.
carrots. And then more hippity hop soundtrack. So this thing is like bonkers. And the biggest question I was left with is just like, who the hell is this movie for?
That is a good question.
And
Yeah,
my
they're all over the
answer
place.
to
All over the
that
place.
is, I think it was maybe for dads who
That
don't
makes
have
sense.
anything else to connect with their kids. So they're like, I'll take this kid to this shitty movie and we'll laugh at poop and farts and I'll get to laugh at Bill Murray and Chris Rock and Chris Elliott and like do that. But I cannot imagine who the fuck else this movie is for.
So the like I said early on, what jumped out to me and what really turned me off quickly was that the frontal like cell animation is really terrible. All the character animations mostly are just shit. Whenever they're walking around doing anything, it's like cheap, like old, like Powerpuff Girls is a good like analog to me. Like it's that quality of animation, not the same style, but the same like amount of like money put into it probably. And then the
This movie cost $70 million fucking dollars.
Yeah.
I wish
And
you
it
hadn't told
did
us that so we could
not
guess again.
No,
We guessed
I
last
mean,
time.
Same.
I think...
Wait,
I
we
had
can-
to look it up.
We can still guess on how much it made.
How much do you think it made?
Do you know how much it made?
I know how much it made.
You do?
So
I'm the only one that can guess?
I picked
You
the
can- you
movie,
should
so
guess,
I
though.
researched. Guess.
Okay, I would guess. I think that you actually might have told me this. I think that you told me that it made like 120, 150
$150.
Are you kidding me?
Are you talking about like 150,000?
million.
Dude, it made $14 million fucking dollars. This movie bombed hard as fuck.
Hard.
It made $14
This
million
movie bombed like a motherfucker.
13,600,000.
I've never. What?
Ford is gobsmacked by
Well,
this.
because most of the time when you talk about a movie bombing, it's like if they filmed it for $70 million, it only made like $120 million, and so then like it technically bombed. You
No,
know?
this
Like,
movie bankrupted this studio. It helped to.
Yeah,
bankrupt
well,
it.
no shit, no
Yeah.
like no wonder.
They
Like,
made this, the Iron Giant, and Looney Tunes Back in Action, and this and Looney Tunes Back in Action bankrupted the fucking studio, and they got rid of them.
Wait.
I think is the story.
We forgot to mention this thing ends with a fart joke. The
Oh, yeah.
last line of this movie
The last line of the movie
is a fart joke.
Is a fart joke because they
Oh wait.
couldn't think of a better way to go out than.
Okay, so he's like on a hike with his daughter because he's changing his life,
Yeah.
and he eats a carrot, and the carrot goes down to the stomach, and Mayor Shatner has been demoted to like stomach cleanup crew, and he like freaks out down there and pushes a button that says "Do not push." So then after he pushes it, Bill Murray farts and says, "What does he say? Out with the old, in with the new."
Yep, that's the
And
end line of the movie.
hippity hop
black.
music.
Yeah.
Cut to hip hop.
And that's it.
What was the song at the end?
I don't even know. Was it Trick Daddy at the end?
I don't know.
It's something like that.
We stopped it.
Okay, but like, as much as I hated the frontal animation, the background mats that they painted looked hand painted, or in a lot of them anyway. There was a lot of scenes flying through like cilia and stuff. Anytime there was like movement of the camera, they weren't background painted mats, but the matte paintings that were in the background were fucking great. In
Do
my
you
opinion.
think that cells have car insurance?
I hope they have health
Because
insurance.
their cars are
Frank
gelatinous.
is fucking filthy.
Oh,
So
and
do you think they
also-
really need it?
No.
Also, the effects, like the digital effects, that were very prevalent. We never talked about those. I don't
No.
think.
I don't give a shit. Fuck
well,
this movie.
But
I don't
like,
care.
the digital effects of the guns, of the molecules, and when they blew up anything, and the molecules would fly into the air, and all the background, like, not like fire, but like fire type stuff and explosions and stuff like that.
The
And
part
some
where
of
he
the,
was like inflamed looked pretty cool.
and some of the spiraling body functions that were done obviously digitally were pretty well done. But just like overdone in some cases, where they would kind of they did it over top of the matte painting backgrounds, and it looked like weird and kind of bad.
I think they could have made this movie for like $20 million if they hadn't hired any of the actors
The
in it.
fucking
Right,
cast.
that's the problem. They
Like,
spent
why
all the
did they
budget on
spend
Bill Murray.
any money on people to draw people
What
to a
could
gross
go
out poop
wrong?
comedy
Yeah.
where that's like 90% fart and snot jokes?
This is a badly,
Stop,
probably
I
this is
told
an
you
example of
my
like a
stomach
badly
hurts.
managed movie, you know? Like bad, bad.
How did this ever get past the stage of ideas?
Well,
how did someone go, yes, we're gonna blow $70 million on this?
This is dope.
Well, and again,
I
I feel like every studio that, like the animation studio that worked on it, and the like story, the people writing the scripts and everything, probably did a good job. This seems like a movie that was fucked up from the top somehow.
The fact that it got decided to get made is
right. I would love to hear an episode of How Did This Get Made on this movie. I really would. I would love to hear that.
They wouldn't punish themselves like we have.
No.
How did this get made? If you ever hear us,
I don't
masochism.
I honestly think I wouldn't recommend anyone watch this.
No,
I wouldn't recommend that you watch it with your kid.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. Or it's not a useful movie. It's not a.
I'm telling you, if you're gonna watch it, be prepared to fucking puke. It's gross as fuck. It is nasty.
It's gross. It's so goddamn gross.
It's weird.
I need a shower.
Any final things?
Wash your fucking hands and don't eat poop eggs.
Don't eat a poop egg.
Those are my final thoughts.
If you don't
wash
eat a
your
poop
damn
egg,
hands.
none of this movie would have happened.
Yeah.
If he didn't touch the poop egg and he cleaned his hands, this movie wouldn't have existed. So please, everyone, wash your damn hands.
I just want to say, I'm curious why, if Frank dresses and acts like a Ted Cruz voter, that all the people inside him are apparently ethnic stereotypes. Just asking. I'm just asking.
Fucking question.
I'm just questioning things. Just asking questions.
It's a dig on a couple levels.
Deal.
Because Ted Cruz voters live in a zoo.
All right. Good night, podcast.
Thanks for listening, you jags. I'm gonna throw up.